Hold on one second. Welcome, Mistress Newbie. Welcome, Susie Bear. They're going to freeze me up for a second. Hold on one second.
Good morning. There are new developments in that deadly shooting out of the Escambia County Home Depot.
The mother of suspect Keith A.G., now also charged, accused of helping coordinate that murder. Her mugshot just released overnight by the.
Good morning. There are new developments in that deadly shooting out of the Escambia County Home Depot.
The mother of suspect Keith A.G., now also charged, accused of helping.
Good morning. There are.
Check 1, 2. Can you hear me in the chat? If you can hear me in the chat, hit the number 1, please. I'm still here. One second, folks. We'll be right back. All right, if you can hear me, hit a number 1 in the chat. Here we go. Sorry for about the delay. I'm back here. We're going to get this party back started again. Here we go, folks. Sorry for the delay.
Good morning. There are new developments in that deadly shooting out of the Escambia County Home Depot.
The mother of suspect Keith A.G., now also charged, accused of helping coordinate that murder. Her mugshot just released overnight by the Washington County Sheriff's Office in Alabama. Last night, the Escambia County, Florida Sheriff's Office shared text messages they say exchanged between Keith A.G. and Sheila A.G. shortly before the 18-year-old Brooklyn Sims was shot and killed Friday afternoon. The expletive-laden text described where to go and what to do, including deleting the messages. Now, we have the entire text exchange on our website.
This is horrible. This is just simply a horrible situation right here. Talk about a situation of extreme dysfunction and ill will. Let me keep it going.
The website right now. Last night, Sheila A.G. was at the balloon release to remember Brooklyn Sims. Our cameras captured her at Davis Park in Citronelle. You can see her with her son and Sims's young daughter. Sheila A.G., now awaiting extradition to Escambia County. She is being charged with principal to first-degree murder.
Friends and family of Brooklyn Sims remembering her as a loving mother with big dreams for her daughter. They released pink and purple balloons at the park in Citronelle. Some big brother, his big brother, her big brother rather, Breland Carter, tells us they're now focused on the 2-year-old daughter that Sims leaves behind. We understand Keith A.G. is the girl's father, and friends tell us there were undertones of domestic violence between the couple.
Dang. See, there it goes again. That DV thing again. I'm telling you, it just seems to be that men who beat on women are capable of worse. Let's keep it going.
When it first occurred, I was aware, and then there was a hiatus, so to speak, because she took him to court, did the steps she had to take to make sure he was out of her way, and somehow
it's called restraining orders. Explain that people with restraining orders are some you even know here online. Let's keep it going.
How or another, this ended up being the result. of everything that's going on. How he was even out to be able to do something like this, I don't know. Took the chance away from my niece to know her mother and know how amazing of a person she was.
2 other people with minor injuries from the gunfire Friday. They're expected to be okay. Keith Agee is being held without bond, charged with first-degree premeditated murder.
And Keith Agee has a history of domestic violence complaints filed against him, accusing him of threatening and violent behavior. Records show 2 other women last year filed for
Wow, look at all that. Look at all that. I'm telling you, if somebody tells you they got a restraining order, better watch out. Here we go.
from abuse orders. One victim wrote in her petition, Agee threatened to shoot and kill her and would ride by her home. Another victim wrote in her petition, Agee showed up while she was at work, busted her windshield, and threatened to shoot her mother.
4 months after the crime, Keith
Wow, here we go. We're going to go to the second part of this right now. Actually, let's go to this part right here. Let's go to this part. Here we go. Let's break it down right now. I call this part bad. Wait. My bad, everybody. Wrong video. Hold on one second. Here we go. Second part. Keith Agee.
4 months after the crime, Keith Agee, the man on the left, the man who killed a woman inside a Pensacola Home Depot store, convicted today and sentenced today to life behind bars. The victim was the mother of Agee's daughter.
And Tanner Stewart joins us outside the courthouse with details on the verdict.
Oh, man, not the same one. Okay, hold on, folks. All right, everybody. Very sorry for the inconvenience. That will not happen again. Making my adjustments right now. Let's get right back into it. Here we go.
From Catfish, and I'm here with MTV News journalist and true life crime host Domity Pungo. And we're about to show you an unaired clip from True Life Crime involving the case of Brittany Cosby and Crystal Jackson,
in which you'll see footage of a forensic interview with Crystal's daughter, Zanaya, who was 5 years old at the time, about what she saw the day her mother and her mother's girlfriend were murdered.
Would you come sit right here for me? Would you like to call her?
Wow, this is interesting. They're going to interview the little girl to get the evidence.
Can you explain why investigators wanted to interview Zanaya?
They had to talk to her because she was actually in the vicinity when her mom was murdered. Brittany and Crystal were planning to take her to school that morning. And investigators wanted to know what Zanaya heard the day that her mom was killed.
Zanaya, what is the first thing you do when you get to school?
Eat breakfast.
Eat breakfast. And then what happens after you eat breakfast?
What was interesting to me was, if you notice, Zanaya's drawing. And, I was asking around and trying to figure out why the forensic interviewer had her draw. Well, it's to keep the child at ease and to make them more comfortable. The fact that she has to go through...
Yeah, that's actually a very good idea. Very good idea. Keeps her relaxed. She's comfortable. It establishes trust. Let's keep going.
This exercise with this child before she talks about this deeply traumatic event that this child is still talking about with this childlike innocence. It's this weird juxtaposition.
Tell me everything that happened from that morning to the time you went to sleep.
The morning when I was getting ready for school at night, my mama was in the car, me and her, and my mama said, "Stay in the car," and I stayed in the car. So I was taking my mom so long, so I went in there to find out, but nobody was in there.
You said when you were sitting in the car you heard something?
Yeah, it was like going like zzz, like somebody was lasering somebody.
Like somebody was what?
Lasering.
Tell me
Wow, I wonder what that was. That's crazy.
who all was at that house when you were there going to sleep?
It was just me and her mama, and I forgot the other boy name.
The other boy's name?
That's Brittany's brother.
Brittany's brother.
The person who lives there is actually Brittany's dad, but probably not much of an authority figure, but two people who seem like equals, at least to a child who was watching from afar.
You don't remember?
Wow. Let me play that one more time. That's deep.
Boy name.
The other boy's name?
That's Brittany's brother.
Brittany's brother.
The person who lives there is actually Brittany's dad, but probably not much of an authority figure, but two people who seem like equals, at least to a child who was watching from afar.
You don't remember Brittany's brother's name? Is he big like me or little like you?
He's tall.
He's tall.
It's unclear exactly what she saw, but there are a few things that are key right here. She places James at the scene, right? So we know that James was there. So her interview, her testimony helped to corroborate what police would later find out.
Did you ever see blood in his room? Tell me where you saw the blood.
There was blood splatter in his room. He just decided to kill my mother and his daughter.
Okay, tell me where the blood.
Wow. She's a brave little young girl, that's for sure. Let's keep it going.
Splatter was in his room.
On his bed.
You saw it on his bed. Okay. Did you see it anywhere else?
On his floor.
And some on his floor. Did you ever hear anything from his room? Tell me everything you heard from his room.
A gunshot.
You heard a gunshot. Tell me how you know it was a gunshot.
Because he just, in his room, he just said, he took them to outside and just shoot them.
Damn, that's messed. Let's keep going.
Okay, did somebody tell you that or did you see that?
I see that.
What we now know is she probably heard the sound of the gun that took her mother's life. Her interview at 5 years old was the glue that brought it all together.
Now, I know you recently met with Zanaya. How does she look back and think and feel about going through all that?
Yo, she was surprisingly optimistic. The hope that this little girl had, it'll just warm your heart. You know, I was very
Oh,
nervous about talking to her because I haven't talked to someone that young about something so traumatic. Yet, all she could talk about was how to look on the bright side. A lot of kids haven't been through some of the things
that's
that
called resilience, ladies and gentlemen. Let me keep it going. Here we go.
you've seen
Yeah.
and have been through. How has it been kind of
Play soccer, good for her.
putting that behind you as you've been growing up throughout school?
I just have to think about it like a good way, you know?
How often do you think about mom?
Almost every day.
Almost every day.
Cause like sometimes you're like, I wish she was here so we could do this, and like how it was when I was little and how she would treat me and all that kind of stuff.
Yo, what do you remember about the day you lost mom?
I was going on a field trip.
You going on a field trip that day?
Yeah, I was going to the rodeo.
Wow, wow.
So that makes me remember that day even more because it's like,
Dang, she turned out to be very articulate, huh? Let me keep it going. Here we go.
I go to the rodeo almost every year with my school. So it's like, today is the day that it happened.
Do you like going to the rodeo still, or?
I do.
Yeah.
Cause I'd be like, yo, me and my mom could have done this and I can pretend like she's there and we can just do the stuff there, you know?
That's so cool. I love how bright and positive you are about it, man. Oh, who's this guy?
Diamond.
It's your dog?
Yeah.
What kind of dog is she?
She's a Chihuahua Wiener dog mix.
Zanaya always wanted a dog. So someone that I worked with gave me the dog. And I named her Diamond because Diamond is forever. Just like Crystal. And Zanaya is crazy about the dog.
That is so cool. That's called resilience right there, folks. We're going to keep this going. Let's see what I got in this bag of tricks. I know. I feel the same thing, Mistress Newbie. Yeah, pure bit. Pure bit. Going into a McDonald's tragedy right now. Mother of 4 passed away due to a simple dispute. Tamanika Woods tragedy.
Young children left without a mother after a deadly shooting inside a West Atlanta McDonald's.
We just got
That's weird. They had all that footage, but there was no action. Okay, well that's okay. I mean, maybe they were trying to show the thing, what happened beforehand. So we'll swing with it. Here we go.
update from police. They say the call came in after 2:30 this afternoon. They found a woman shot at that McDonald's. She was taken to the hospital where she died. Homicide investigators are still working to get more details about what led up to the shooting.
Mr. Snoobree breaks it down like this. This is why I don't go anywhere where there is a numerous group of people. I go to stores early in the morning to avoid the crowd. I cannot agree with you more. I usually go to the supermarket when it's at its slowest. I even go to the gym when it's at its slowest if I can. It just makes more sense to do that. Why put yourself in peril? There's too many people who are uptight. And they tend to want to gather in areas where there's a lot of people. This is Black Girl Lost. Please like and subscribe to their channel. Here we go.
30-year-old Tamanika Woods, affectionately known as Nene to family and friends, was a sweet, loving, and kind woman who loved spending time with her loved ones. Most importantly, she was a devoted mother to 4 beautiful children. No one could have ever predicted that an unexpected turn of events would change Tamanika and her children's lives forever. Just before 3 p.m. on December 27th, Atlanta police responded to a McDonald's off Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard Southwest in Atlanta's West End neighborhood for reports of a shooting. Upon arrival, they would locate the body of an unresponsive adult female.
Breaking news in Southwest Atlanta. Police are investigating a deadly shooting on Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard. Courtney Francisco, you got to the scene about an hour ago, right before Channel 2 Action News at 4. So what have you been able to find out?
Well, police just gave us an update, George, and tell us a woman was the person who was killed inside this McDonald's. I want to give you a closer look right now. I have asked police if they know who shot her, if they've made an arrest, and I'm waiting on that information. Officers only
Yeah,
say
this is already crazy. A woman can't even buy a McDonald's burger or some chicken McNuggets safely. That's crazy. See, that's what I'm talking about when I say that how are we as men supposed to criticize women when we can't even protect them? You know, we can't even protect, actually, quite honestly, we can't even protect each other. We uh we need to get our game up. That's what I'm thinking.
saying at this hour that this is an ongoing and active investigation. You can see officers still have the McDonald's roped off with crime tape. You see police officers on the other side. Inside the restaurant, we can see more police officers and we can see crime scene investigators snapping photos of evidence inside the restaurant. This is a busy area. There's a shopping center across the road. Listen to what one man told me as he learned what happened.
I do shop at this store, and I've been living in this area for the better part of 20 years now. And the area's changing a lot. So, but this is shocking, especially a place that's frequented by so many people.
Yeah, that's crazy. Cameras everywhere, you know. It's crazy.
And a lot of young people, a lot of families.
And you can still see police cruisers are parked on the side of the road here, but it hasn't really snarled traffic too much. There have been some slowdowns, but
Tevin, welcome to the chat.
there are no roadblocks. And we have reached out to McDonald's for a statement, and we're waiting on that.
The Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office identified the victim as Tamanika Woods, who was taken to Grady Memorial Hospital, where she was sadly passed away after succumbing to a gunshot wound. According to eyewitnesses, Tamanika was shot during an escalating dispute with another customer inside of the McDonald's, when at some point the customer pulled out a gun and fired a single shot, striking Tamanika. Before the suspect could flee the scene, customers inside of the restaurant managed to hold her down until police arrived to the scene. No children were inside of the restaurant during the shooting, and the McDonald's has since reopened. Rachel Mitchell, a local McDonald's owner and operator, released a statement saying the following: "We are deeply upset by the senseless act of violence that took place at our West End location yesterday. Our thoughts are
Man, let me
with
keep
the
going.
victim's family and loved ones, and we have offered our full support to the Atlanta Police Department as part of their investigation. We're directing any further questions to local law enforcement at this time."
4 young children left without a mother after a deadly shooting inside a West Atlanta McDonald's. Now at noon, the victim is being identified and the suspected shooter is in custody.
So the Fulton County Medical Examiner has now confirmed that Tamanika Woods was killed at the restaurant on Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard yesterday afternoon. Atlanta News First,
Does
Madeline.
anybody know where that is or know what area that is? Is it a good area or a bad area? And wow, how does something like this happen, man?
Montgomery is live there with new information on this victim. Madeline.
Hey, we're here at the McDonald's, and it's been a little bit less than 24 hours, and they already reopened. You would never know that this was a crime scene where a mother was shot and killed, according to police. This is Tamanika Woods. To friends, she was Nene, The medical examiner confirming she's the victim of a deadly shooting here at the McDonald's in West End. Atlanta police telling us an argument led to a woman they say is in her 20s shooting Woods. We're told by witnesses that people inside of the restaurant held down the suspected shooter until police could arrest her.
She's a very good mother and she's a great person, and she will be missed. She's very sweet, family-oriented young lady.
Police have not shared the name of the person they've arrested for this shooting, but they confirmed that Woods nor that person arrested actually worked at this restaurant here.
Victim with a gunshot wound to her body. She was transported to Grady Hospital and succumbed to her injuries. While on scene, we spoke to witnesses and persons who were at the restaurant, and we had a female detained as well. According to the witnesses, the female detained was involved in a shooting incident. Currently, witnesses and that person of interest is being interviewed at the police headquarters as we speak.
Wow. Okay, so that's, something new there. It seems like we really need to do some work in the community, that's for sure. Let's keep it going.
We're working with the business as well to secure surveillance footage to assist with the investigation.
Were there kids inside?
At this time, no, we don't believe there were just adults inside of the business. It seems like the motive appears to be an escalating dispute between customers. None of the involved parties are employees of the business.
Ages?
So the victim is believed to be between 30 and 35 years old, and the suspect between 20 and 25 years old.
How did they detain the shooter? Who did that? Was it police or the people?
No, these were folks that were inside of the restaurant that saw what happened. Some concerned citizens that held this person and detained until officers arrived on scene.
That was good work. That was good work.
Correct.
Has there been work or there was one woman shooting another woman?
It appears, yes, there's one, the victim is a female and so is the suspect. There was a dispute inside of the restaurant, and one person was shot once, and the victim was shot once. It appears, yes, it's heading in that direction. She is a suspect for it.
We just heard him talking about how it sounded like there was a dispute in between two customers inside the McDonald's, no employees involved, two women. One woman shot another woman one time. That woman was pronounced dead. And it sounds like other customers inside that witnessed this dispute actually held that person down until police arrived and made that arrest.
Yeah, certainly a tragedy this afternoon.
19-year-old
There she is.
Tania Evans was arrested and is being held at the Fulton County Jail. She was charged with murder, aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and theft by receiving stolen property. The case remains ongoing.
Wow, that is crazy. That is very crazy.
The most recent shooting happened around 8 o'clock this morning on Union Avenue near Oakdale Street. Police Chief Eric Winstrom says officers found a woman dead after neighbors heard gunshots and called police. A suspect took off but was found a short time later on the city's northeast side. Police have not released his name. Officers were working to locate children who live in the home this morning to make sure that they were safe.
Looks like this is likely a domestic incident. At this point in time, we have not identified the victim, but it's a very strong possibility. I'd be surprised if this wasn't domestic in nature.
Damn, more DV.
Secrets are like shadows. They thrive in the dark and can completely consume your light. If you're in a relationship and you're keeping something hidden, it doesn't just affect you, it dims the light for both of you. Even in the strongest relationships, the introduction of secrets can become a destructive force. And if your relationship is bound by contract, such as marriage, then the stakes escalate dramatically. and the potential fallout becomes a colossal mess. But what if one person in
Let me fast forward to this right here.
a deadly secret? We're going to get into it, but first be sure to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on updates to this story, trending true crime topics, and so much more. Now let's get into it. Alicia Danielle Lofton, a radiant mother of 3 residing in Grand Rapids, Michigan, is described by her family as a vibrant, loving spirit who found joy in every moment. She had a heart of gold, always ready to offer her last if you were in need. Successfully raising 3 children, including one on the verge of college graduation, another embarking on his first year at Grand Valley, and a youngest daughter navigating high school, Alicia's accomplishments as a single mother were nothing short of extraordinary. Her dedication to family life didn't go unnoticed, especially when she entered a serious relationship with Marcus. Together, they painted a picture of love and happiness across social media, sharing glimpses of their playful interactions through photos and videos.
I don't know if that I'm not yeah, that's weird. Okay, enough of this.
Going the extra mile to assist those in need, featured and shared with friends and family online.
All right, looks like they had a nice place
Marcus,
too.
a figure known in town for his flashy yet gentlemanly demeanor, was recognized by his generosity, often going the extra mile to assist those in need. With a penchant for dressing up and showcasing his collection of cars, Marcus earned the nickname Bug among friends.
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't wear what he has on, but whatever.
Despite Marcus's previous reputation as someone involved with multiple women, Alicia held a special place in his life. A
Wait a
departure
minute. Uh-oh. Not this again. Let me go back.
recognized by his generosity, often as a figure known in town for his flashy yet gentlemanly demeanor, was recognized by his generosity, often going the extra mile to assist those in need. With a penchant for dressing up and showcasing his collection of cars, Marcus earned the nickname Bug among friends. Despite Marcus's previous reputation as someone involved with multiple women, Alicia held a special place in his life, a departure from his past of not publicly acknowledging his relationships.
Interesting.
His shift towards publicizing his connection with Alicia marked a notable change, signaling the seriousness of their commitment compared to his previous on and off again relationship with his baby mama. February
Okay, so he already
2020.
has a baby mama. Interesting. Already. Here we go. Not a big deal, but let's break it down.
3. In the embrace of February, Alicia and Marcus would embark on a pivotal life journey, choosing to formalize their connection and take the significant step of tying the knot. Their social media posts painted a picture of radiant happiness, portraying a fun loving couple with the promise of a joyous future from an outsider's perspective. However, the initial gleam of their union dimmed all too swiftly. Within a mere 3 months of their marital bliss, ominous cracks in their foundation began to
There it goes. When you have a narcissist or a sociopath In your presence, only time will tell. 3 months, that's about the time limit right there. Unfortunately, let's keep it going. Let's see if this goes where we think it's going to go. If you have any thoughts, please put them in the chat right now. Let's keep it going.
Emerge. And the love that once radiated in their online images turned into a tumultuous reality, marked by heated arguments, eventually escalating to a distressing physical altercation that led to Marcus's arrest in May.
Oh my God. Okay. All the signs. Here we go.
May 2023.
This is
As the
very recent. Damn.
seasons shifted from spring to fall, whispers of infidelity began to reach Alicia's ears, casting shadows on the
There he
trust
goes again. I told you they can cover it up, but they can't change. Can't change what's already there. So I guess the first thing we're learning here is that you have to go by a person's patterns to judge where they're going in the future. It's just that simple. I mean, you would want to think that people change for the better. The problem is that the majority don't. They might be able to keep something up for a minute, or they might be able to even change for a minute, but more than likely, especially under pressure, they will revert back to who they originally were in the first place. And this guy was a philandering man and reverted back to that as soon as he got either bored, tired, or basically didn't get enough or was getting too much of what he wanted.
she once held for Marcus. The rumors hinted at the possibility of him cheating, prompting Alicia to confront him with her suspicions. The revelation
Where confronting people in person about suspicions of infidelity is a dangerous notion these days. It just is, because doing that, and especially when they're guilty, um, these types of people usually they rarely express regret, believe it or not. They express anger, and sometimes it gets really, really bad if they do have some sort of narcissistic level or sociopathic history in their life, and you won't know until it's too late. So you might want to accuse these folks from a distance. I swear. You think if you think they're cheating on you, I strongly suggest you do not do it alone. Do not accuse them alone.
sparked tension, igniting a series of
And if you already know for sure, don't just just go Casper on them. Go Casper, the friendly ghost.
heated arguments within their marriage. With each accusation, the strain on their relationship intensified, pushing Alicia to a breaking point. She reached a moment of profound realization. She could no longer bear the weight of a marriage tainted by secrets and betrayal. Armed,
And this is the funny thing, is that it's the Kevin Samuels generation. They're actually literally trained to cheat. When you remove the very painful item of guilt, people feel better about cheating because they don't feel bad. See, the only thing that's going to keep a cheater from cheating is themselves and the lack of opportunity. So when you lose guilt because you were trained to lose guilt, like for example, what the manosphere does, then cheating becomes actually much easier. Even though you're a cheater, you become an easier cheater. Let's put it that way.
with her suspicions of Marcus's hidden transgressions, Alicia found herself at a crossroads, no longer willing to be a participant in a relationship built on deception. August 2023. Alicia, determined to unravel the truth behind the unsettling whispers, chose to investigate Marcus's suspected infidelity herself instead of hiring a private investigator.
Yeah, that would have been smart.
Taking matters into her own hands,
Yeah, you don't want to do that. I'm telling you, especially by yourself.
she posted Marcus's image on a popular Facebook group designed for women seeking intel about potentially cheating partners.
Wow, I didn't know one existed.
The responses she received were not just confirming, they were shocking, turning Alicia's worst fears into a stark reality. Now in possession of damning evidence, Alicia's anguish deepened when she stumbled upon a secretly recorded video depicting someone she believed to be Marcus in a compromising situation. The gravity of this discovery would incite frustration and anger in anyone. Fueled by her emotions, Alicia decided to take a bold step. She went live on Facebook to expose her cheating husband.
Oh, no. Yeah, Mr. Snoopy says this. Yeah, they have a lot of those on Facebook in different major cities. Man, hey, that's good. I mean, you might as well, I mean, you could definitely, to me, it's like this. If you can find out somebody who's cheating on you and being and wanting to be in a monogamous relationship, that can be a very helpful tool because you might want to have a kid with that person, and if you find out they're cheating, you might say, "Oh, all bets are off," and then you don't have to worry about being around that person for the remainder of your life because you found out too late that they were cheating on you. So that's very interesting. Here we go.
Confronting him with irrefutable evidence in hand. But shortly thereafter, Alicia's Facebook page would mysteriously disappear, and rumors would circulate that Marcus might have compelled her to deactivate it, adding yet another layer of mystery to the tumultuous unraveling of their relationship. The aftermath of Alicia's discovery held profound consequences. She, having reached a definitive breaking point, resolved that this recent discovery marked the conclusive end to her marriage. Determined to move forward, Alicia began taking decisive steps to initiate the process of divorcing Marcus.
Smart, but I mean, the thing is this is that if you have a way of moving out before starting your proceedings, I strongly recommend it. Um, Unfortunately, in our community, there are too many men that are what you would call mentally, what we basically mentally uncontrollable, and they'll be perfectly fine, just like that guy was in. Remember the guy that was in court who jumped on the judge? He was perfectly fine. He was actually perfectly fine and relaxed until he got to the point where it got to the point where he was going to hear something he didn't want to hear, and you saw how he went off. And that's an important point I need to make. That that Superman jumper dude who was any far from Superman. I mean, he was putting on an act. So did this young lady's, Alicia's husband. He put on an act. Too many of these men, they want to get married, but not to be loyal. And the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. If the manosphere wants to be seen as the voice for black male America, then cheating is part of black male America. Because that's what, other than marrying very young, when you're older, that's basically what they champion. So you need to know your odds. We want to feel good about a situation, but if there's nothing to feel good about it, then we have to face up to reality. We have to understand where we are. I mean, this really goes for both men and women, but basically, especially more for women because um, you're in more danger. You just simply are. You're usually out. You're out, as they call it in the boxing world. You're in a different weight class. And the reason why they put even both, there's a very good reason for that. Even men rarely will fight somebody at a different weight class, and they do that because number one, it's not fair to the smaller man usually, regardless of their boxing skills. And number two, because they don't want anybody getting damaged or worse. That's why they made weight classes in boxing. So if you're a young lady and you weigh a lot, you don't weigh that much, and the man is much bigger than you, and he gets upset and he starts hitting you, well, you're in a different weight class. And on top of that, for some reason, in our community, men love guns and they love to use them on everything. So let me keep it going.
August 16th, 2023. In the wake of her Facebook announcement and her choice to divorce Marcus, on August 16th, Alicia took further definitive action. She served Marcus with divorce papers, signaling the formal commencement of the dissolution process.
Serving
However,
them up, serving them up.
that wasn't the sole impactful decision Alicia made that day. She also informed Marcus that she intended to sell their home. Alicia had
Wow. If she intended to sell their home, then she owned the home. Oh my. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. She can't sell the home if he owned it. I get. Tell me I'm wrong. Here we go.
made up her mind. She was determined to escape the nightmare that had engulfed her. She and Marcus had been living apart for 3 months following the tumultuous altercation in May.
Oh, okay. They should have mentioned that earlier because so she did get out and she did serve him the divorce papers at the right time. And I guarantee you there's probably um some sort of, what should we call it? You know, restraining order involved as well. Here we go.
This separation highlights the swift deterioration of what was supposed to be a lifelong commitment. August 17th, 2023. In the early morning on August 17th, Marcus would make the unsettling decision to visit their home to have a conversation with Alicia. This move raised serious alarms, considering Alicia's active restraining order against
I
him.
told you. I didn't even. There it is. There it is. There it is. The restraining order always pops its head up. I'm telling you, dudes with restraining orders. Welcome, Indiana moms in the house. Mistress Newbie's in the house. 67's in the house. Tevin's in the house. Susie Bear's in the house. Strum's in the house or in the clouds. Let's keep it going. Here we go.
A precaution she had taken for her safety during the divorce proceedings. He was ordered to stay away from the home. But despite the clear legal boundaries, Marcus chose to go there anyway.
Most, I would say at least 50% of these people who get restraining orders break them, knowingly or not.
It was around 8 a.m. when his unexpected appearance occurred. According to Marcus, he was suspicious that Alicia might be having secret meetings with their realtor and contemplating plans to keep the money once the home was sold. The foundation of trust that might have existed between the couple was now destroyed.
Oh my God. I mean, the trust was broken a while ago. Welcome, kittens in caskets in the house. Here we go.
There was no trust between them. Once Marcus was inside the home, an argument ensued, escalating beyond the point of return.
Welcome, Feisty Black Tina in the house. Good seeing you.
According to Marcus, in the heat of the moment, he grabbed Alicia's gun from the drawer where she kept it. Initially intending to use the weapon to strike her, Marcus claimed the situation took a tragic turn as the gun accidentally discharged, striking Alicia. Alarmed by the sudden violence, Alicia desperately sought refuge, retreating to a bedroom and securing the door behind her. However, Marcus, in a fit of aggression, broke the lock. There, he discovered his wounded wife, clinging to the hope of escape as she tried to climb out of the bedroom window. Marcus.
Well, that's funny that's he's a liar, because if you accidentally shoot your wife, you're trying to help your wife, right? They're still married at this point. That just tells you that he was a liar.
And took aim, shooting her several times.
So he shoots her again. Oh man. See, so now his whatever story he made up about accidentally shooting her is just basically out the window.
In her head, neck, and body. In the aftermath of this heinous act, Marcus swiftly fled the scene, making a hasty escape in his maroon SUV. Shortly
He's probably
thereafter,
trying to get to the airport so he can fly away to some country.
Grand Rapids police responded to a distressing call reporting shots fired at 1411 Union Avenue Southeast. Upon arrival, the officers were met with a disturbing scene. Alicia's lifeless body lay on the ground next to a house on Adams Street and
So I thought, that's the thing is what's the point? What's the value that Black men we can give to women in our community when there's a lot of this going on? 40% reported DV. Black women are very least to report DV. So you can probably expect that about 60% of Black women in relationships experience DV at least. Because remember now, 40%, right? 40% reported it. And then you have a whole lot of women who didn't report it. Probably about the same. So our numbers aren't looking good. And we need to work on those numbers, fellas. Stop getting mad. Stop listening to Kevin Samuels and making excuses. We need to work on our own numbers. And then finally, maybe after that, Black women will start trusting us more. Some blindly do. Unfortunately, the ones you say should choose better, they trust you, and they shouldn't have trusted, and many of you shouldn't have been chosen, and you know it. You know in your heart. Nobody knows, but you know in your heart. Before you can start criticizing other people, you need to work on your own stats. Many of you. And many of the men that are already good and excellent men, this probably doesn't even apply to you whatsoever. This is probably just a funny thing, which a funny live stream, which it should be. You should be confident in your place, and we should focus on protecting women, because protecting women doesn't mean only protecting women from other people. It means protecting women from your bad behavior if you express that. And many of you do. Many of you in this space do. You fellas do that. I've seen you have tempers. I've seen you disrespect women, okay, that you say you respect. It's sad and disgusting. And that's why this channel is here. Let me keep it going. In the house, Quita Ward, and a mom, Mistress Newbie. She breaks it down like this. I was assaulted by my son's father and my ex-husband and never reported it either assault. So yeah, the numbers are higher. Yeah.
Union Avenue.
I
Her
mean,
body
let me reiterate this. Mistress Newby, I'm sorry you had to go through that. Hopefully we can acquire the information we need to keep our friends from being abused like that in the future and keep ourselves as well from being abused in the future. Let's keep it going.
marred with numerous fatal gunshot wounds to the head and body. The next door neighbor, an unwitting witness to the tragedy, reported hearing a loud argument preceding the haunting sound of gunshots that filled the air. The neighbor saw Marcus's maroon SUV quickly fleeing the scene. Contrary to the outward appearance of bliss often portrayed on social media, the couple's relationship was, in reality, marked by turbulence and frequent arguments, a stark contrast to the facade presented to the public. Behind closed doors, the truth was far from the happiness depicted online. But on this fateful day, August 17th, a mere 2 days after Alicia filed for divorce, the situation escalated beyond any previous arguments. Marcus
And see, the real human being came out of him. Who he was for real came out. And see, basically the thing is this. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, men are getting married for a place to stay. They're not getting married for monogamous reasons or for loving reasons. They are getting married for a place to stay and control and for what is the word that supply. That's what they're getting married for. And just because somebody offers to marry you, you got to be careful. You got to make sure it's for the right reasons. Let's think about it like this. Alexa, stop. Okay, think about it like this. If a woman gets married for the wrong reasons, the man's heart gets broken. If the man marries for the wrong reasons, well, if you're lucky, you're just somebody like Shirley Strawberry and you lose everything. There's a lot of women who are losing literally their lives. And the reason why is because the men, they know they're losing a lot. This woman owned the house. It wasn't the man's house, number one. Okay? So if you got to buy the house for your man, that's a scary notion. And as far as the theory, the Kevin Samuels theory, you shouldn't have to, the man should be the one buying the house. Okay? So think about it. Men get married for a place to stay, just like women get married for a place to stay. Very well said, Bridget. No man only has to pay the light bill. Yeah. Yep. That is crazy. Let's keep it going. Here we go.
In a disturbing admission, claimed to have experienced a blackout during a fit of violent rage when he
It wasn't a
shot.
blackout. That's kind of like an excuse to me. Very rarely it's a blackout. He is a fit of rage of anger. I'll say that much, but that's just who he was.
And killed his wife just 1 day after she served him with divorce papers. Alicia and Marcus had been living separately for months leading up to this tragic event. According to him, she had been accusing him of cheating all along. But what made matters so explosive this time may have had something to do with what Alicia found during her investigation. That video Alicia discovered, according to her friends, was one that depicted Marcus engaging in an intimate encounter with another man.
Oh. It just all clicks together. We got a philanderer. Okay. We got a man that had to be put on a restraining order. Okay. We got a man who didn't own the house. The woman did. And now we got a man who, well, who jumps around literally. He's likes it both ways. That's what they say back in the hip hop days. Yep. I'm not saying that because he's bi. I guess he's bi, right? That's why he has a mental disorder. It's when you're angry and you're bi. That's a concern because it probably means we got another DL killer in the house. All right, I'm going to keep this going. Quita Ward's in the house. Elvira Puesta's in the house. Indiana Mom's in the house. Bridget Mouton's in the house. Mistress Newbie is in the house. Kittens and Caskets is in the house. Feisty Black Tina in the house. Tevin is in the clouds, probably. He jumps down from one time to time. Susie Bear is in the house. Here we go.
Upon posting Marcus's picture on the popular Whose Man Is This Facebook page, Alicia not only received responses from multiple men claiming they had intimate relations with her husband, but the other man in the video also uploaded the footage. The video featured someone Alicia identified as Marcus engaging in an
Yes, Quita, 41 Shades of Men. 41 Shades of Men. Look, you got to get that. I'm telling you, the thing is this. This is what I find funny about the multimedia. I saw some jerk today trying to criticize Princella, saying that she was a fraud of some sort. And you know what's ironic? Quita, you got to hear this. The guy was convicted of fraud. I kid you not. I'm not going to say his name, but he's let's just say everybody know who he is. Okay? Same guy who complained about being homeless. Had the nerve to talk about Princella. I couldn't believe it. I'm trying to keep myself from saying it. I'm trying to keep myself. Okay. Look, I kid you not. He's got an active record, not like way back in the past and he got better, right? I ain't talking about that. I'm sorry to go on this sideways thing, but it made me mad because I'm thinking about it like this. Okay. Yeah, the irony. Let me calm down here because it made me upset because it messed with my logic thinking. Okay, dude has a criminal record. The dude I'm talking about has a criminal record. Okay, for computer theft, fraud, real estate fraud. Okay, amongst other charges. But he turned, and look, hey, that's his life. That's his life. That's his freaking life, right? But then to turn around and criticize somebody else and call them a fraud when you literally have paperwork that you're a fraud. You literally have paperwork that you're a freaking whole criminal. And you have the nerve, okay, to criticize someone who is clearly more intelligent, clearly more worldly than you, okay? It bothers me because, see, the thing is that I'm not trying to get on or I'm not trying to get on, dude, but come on. I mean, if we keep doing this in our community, we're going to destroy the community where you have people that are worse or need help, or people that are extremely flawed. Hey, no problem. Get your work, put in your work and become unfraud. But people that are flawed, okay, are criticizing people that are definitely mentally more stable than you. Because if they sell that instability is better, then what does that do to the community? I can't. You can't make this ish up. You can't make it up. I can't believe it. Okay, enough of this. Let me calm down here. I'm just mad about that. That just made me mad. It's like me as a person who cannot throw a football very well, going up to Peyton Manning and going, dude, you can't throw the freaking ball. Here, let me throw. I mean, it's like you're not even at that level. I mean, at least if you want to critique somebody, at least morally be at their level. Okay? She goes home to a house. Priscilla goes home to a house every day. Okay? This dude don't even do that. He don't even do that. She takes care of her child. Who knows what he does because he don't live nowhere. He's got a child too, an infant. I'm not saying he's a bad person. What I'm saying, though, is what the fuck? What the? I'm not going to walk up to Denzel Washington and tell him what to do. Dude, you ain't nothing about nothing. I don't care about your little, 40, 50 million dollars or whatever you got. You got to do it my way. You got to do it my way. No. Okay, let me calm down. Let's get back into it. Here we go.
Intimate encounter with the gay man. He claimed to have recorded the video secretly, and Alicia's friends were the ones who brought this to her attention.
Okay, let me bring that back. So basically what we have found out is this. I
Upon
need to
posting
reiterate things because, of course, I got off track. I apologize. Okay, this is what's going on. So a young lady married a man. The man cheated before, they got together, right? And he then pretended that he wasn't cheating anymore. And they were pretending they had this lovely life. But things went, unfortunately, not very well. So she first moved out because things, thanks, Guida. Things were going, she separated from her man because things got probably kind of violent, right? To the point where she had to get a restraining order, okay? And what people don't know is they don't usually hand out restraining orders like candy. They don't. You have to have a good reason. So what happened is this. She breaks up and then she gets her paperwork together and she tries to serve him this paperwork, I assume. Maybe she had somebody serve him. But I'm telling you, from that point, you should be ghost. Ghost. Like he don't even know where you at. I'm sorry, it's the state of our community right now where you need to be gone. I mean, you've seen those little spy movies where they have to move the person out of the state or out of the country, that kind of shit. Anyway, let me keep going here. Here we go.
Marcus's picture on the popular Whose Man Is This Facebook page, Alicia not only received responses from multiple men claiming they had intimate relations with her husband, but the other man in the video also uploaded the footage. The video featured someone Alicia identified as Marcus engaging in an intimate encounter with the gay man. He
Oh
claimed
man, I mean, oh man. Okay.
to have recorded the video secretly, and Alicia's friends were the ones who brought this to her attention. This discovery exposed
Good
a
friends. I don't play that. Oh yeah, you're supposed to just let your friends find out or nuh-uh. If you know something like that and you know that they're going to be under a duress or danger, you do what you need to do.
side of Marcus he hadn't anticipated would ever come out. When Alicia went live on Facebook to unveil this secret, Marcus, unprepared for such exposure,
Yeah, you're right. Bridget, you nailed it. If he wants to harm you, a restraining order does nothing to stop him. Yep. The best way to do is be ghost. Now, I don't mean they ghosted you. I mean you ghosted. You ghost. You get gone. Because I mean, to me, a restraining order really is for you. It's a piece of paper that every time you start to feel, you know, bad for them or something like that, you look at it and you read all the way through it. You read all the way through the incidents that you have to put down on paper, because people will a lot of people, you'll get that instant amnesia when your feelings get involved. You know what I mean? Read that paper. Put that in the plaque. You know?
retaliated by mercilessly shooting her 15 times. Following this gruesome act, investigators identified
15 times. You know what they should do? Restraining orders are, I believe, they were just white pieces of paper most of the time. They should be red and in the shape of a flag. I'm serious. At least the folder, you put them in a red folder that's the shape of a flag, because you need to be reminded of that. And until they start using Kevlar to make the restraining orders, they're not much good. I mean, legally they are. Legally they are, because if for some reason he steps on your property, you can take action. But until they make them out of Kevlar, they're not much good for anything else.
Marcus Lofton as a possible suspect and arrested him after spotting him walking in the 1200 block of North Avenue Northeast on the next day, August 18th. Marcus Duriel Lofton faces an open murder charge, and on Thursday, September 28th, he was ordered to stand trial for the killing of his wife, Alicia Danielle Lofton. During the subsequent police interview, Marcus disclosed that Alicia had served him with divorce papers on August 16th, declaring her intention to sell their house. However, due to his prior arrest in May for alleged domestic violence against Alicia,
Oh my God.
he was prohibited from contacting her. Nevertheless, at around 8 a.m. on August 17th, he violated this restriction and made
Yeah. Welcome, Ellen Ripley. El Vieto Porres is in the house as well. Miss RV is in the house. Indiana Mom is in the house. Quita Ward is in the house. El Vieto Porres says this: A restraining order is for you and the court system because one, it's a part of a paper trail, and two, shows history between you and them and the court. Exactly. But it ain't it ain't Kevlar. That's the only problem with it.
Made contact with her at the Union Avenue house. In a chilling account, Marcus allegedly told detectives about their argument, during which he seized Alicia's gun from the drawer with the intent to strike her. The confrontation took a deadly turn as he resorted to using the firearm against her. Marcus was subsequently arraigned on a first-degree murder.
I thought men, Kevin Samuels said that men, right, are logical. So what was logical about what he did? Nothing. So if everyone wants to believe that men are logical and women are emotional, us men, we sure are doing a very piss poor job of proving that. We might want to consider working on that. Just a little bit. Well, a lot more than a little bit. Let's keep it going.
Charge and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. He is currently held in jail without bond. The arrest affidavit revealed Marcus's extensive criminal history, including numerous felony convictions.
Oh my God. I mean, I believe in second chances. I do. But I don't know if women in the black community can afford those second chances. These guys, Queen. I mean, think about it. I mean, can you really? I mean, you can't. Let me tell you this, ladies, you can't really give these guys second chances. They're going to hate me again for this. But hey, yep. Let me keep it going. This is not funny, but basically you should understand that. If Alexa, stop. Okay, so I guess what I'm saying is this. Yes, I do love my Amazon Alexa. It's the best thing in the world. Turns on my lights, turns off my lights. I can turn my TV on. I could even ask Alexa to turn. Let me shut up. I'm not here for a commercial. I'm not here for a commercial for Amazon. Here we go. So anyway, I mean, basically what I'm saying is this, I'm telling you, dudes with rap sheets in the history of violence, they're the same. They might get good for a minute, but that's only because they want to draw people in to their web. I'm telling you, that's how it goes. That's what's going down. That's what's going down.
Such as carrying a concealed weapon, possession with intent to distribute, and delivery of narcotics.
Listen to this. Listen to this. He was a whole criminal.
On a first-degree murder charge and possession of a firearm during the commission of a deadly turn as he resorted to using the firearm against her. Marcus was subsequently arraigned on a first-degree murder charge and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. He is currently held in jail without bond. The arrest affidavit revealed Marcus's extensive criminal history, including numerous felony convictions, such as carrying a concealed weapon, possession with intent to distribute, and delivery of narcotics. Secrets.
I mean, I don't know. I think, I quite honestly feel that, I don't know if she knew it or not, but I believe when people sign a marriage license, the woman has the right to see his history. I don't know, something. Because that was a lot. See, and that's a funny thing. Then, right, at the same time, the manosphere is going to say what he was at least paying the light bill, and then turn around and say, "'Cause she should have chose better." All at the same time. Feisty Black Tina breaks it down like this. This bandit had no business even having access to this woman. Exactly. Exactly. Quita Ward breaks it down like this. Indiana mom, I've had several restraining orders with my estranged husband. Trust me, I'm talking in code. Man, yeah. Quita again, DJ LMAO. No, you don't have a junior Alexis C. Harder. Oh, man.
Are like
There you go.
shadows. They thrive in the darkness and can consume all the light in their presence. When introduced into relationships, they become agents of potential destruction, often
Okay,
leading
El Vieto Peros, why are you going to make me hungry again? Damn, I need my wife to come back home from visiting relatives. I overcooked my lamb. It still sounds good. I think I've had lamb once in my life. I bet it's really good. Let me keep it going.
to the relationship's demise. Alicia paid the ultimate price, not for harboring her own secrets in the relationship, but for her discovery of his. The repercussions of living a double life can be devastating if exposed.
DL dudes, they get quite rude. Miss RV breaks it down like this, but claims that he snapped, guys. Yeah, he's been snapping a lot. Miss RV, I think it's quite clear he's been snapping a lot. Probably been snapping his 2 fingers too. They always snap. Like the guy who jumped over already had the dude who jumped at the let me stop. I'm starting to sound like Big J. But the guy who jumped at the judge, he snapped, right? But he also had a history of snapping. I'm telling you, ladies, get picky if these guys got a record, I would not give them a second chance. I would not give them a second chance. I would read that 41 Shades of Men. I'm telling you. Hold on one second. I'm going to play this while I answer the door. Hold on.
Echoing Newton's third law of motion, which says that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Take care to weigh all the potential outcomes before taking action. Not all farewells require spoken words. Some departures are eloquently written in the language of silence. If you find yourself
Let me pause. Oh, wait. Let me see what she's going to say. Here we go.
entangled in a similar situation in the United States, you can call 1-800.
Pause it right there so everybody can get the number down just in case. Everybody in the room, we already know what's up, but we want to at least have this number up when on replay for everybody else for years to come. Hit that number up. I mean, it's a shame that we have to have a domestic violence hotline, but we do. And there's probably one online as well if you want, if you can't talk. Let me keep it going.
799-7233. There, someone is waiting to assist you in safely navigating your way out of the
Okay, let me rewind it back.
eloquently written in the language of silence. If you find yourself entangled in a similar situation in the United States, you can call 1-800-799-7233. There, someone is waiting to assist you in safely navigating your way out of the shadows. Thank you, Alicia, for being an embodiment of love and light. May you rest in eternal peace.
Man, that is deep. But you see the pattern that's going on. They usually have a criminal, violent record. Okay. Short-tempered. You know, emotionally damaged in one way or the other. Often on the DL. Often promiscuous, often cheaters. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like too many men, and I think a lot of the men in the manosphere, they have issues they need help with, but they're going to purveyors that are worse off than they are. That's just so sad to me. It's so sad. Well, we ain't done yet. Here we go.
Someone called 911 during rush hour saying they.
Wait, let me pause this. Let me get some volume on this. Okay. Think about right there should be fine. Rewind it a little bit. Not too far. There we go.
911 during rush hour saying they saw a body on the side of 540. The scene
Wow.
is near highway.
They were in the early chapters of their married life. As newlyweds with a promising future, both were on the brink of university graduation. They seemed happy, but in less than a year of exchanging vows, their story
Why
took
do we do this? Because we want to point out the signs. We want to point out the information of what went wrong. Here we go.
a dark turn. The once blissful facade shattered when she became the victim of a brutal attack, enduring nearly 40 stab wounds. Her lifeless body was positioned prominently on the I-540 just in time to be unveiled to the morning rush hour traffic. The scene was a gruesome bloodbath, leaving one haunting question: why her?
Let me pause it right there. Spicy Black Tina breaks it down like this. This is what becomes of giving a brother a chance. Exactly. Now her children are robbed of their mother. This shit is sick AF. Yep. Yep. I agree. It is sad. It's very sad. No moral compass. Exactly. Elvira breaks it down like this. Black Latina women around the world should not deal with ex-cons. Bars. I didn't say anything about whites because what they do is none of our business or concern. Yep. Bars. Bars. We need to focus on what's in front of us.
This is the story of Latrice Matrell Curtis. We're going to get into it, but first be sure to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on updates to this story, trending true crime topics, and so much more.
All right, this is Sleuthy Lucy. Gonna hit that. Mistress Newbie says this. Umar trying to keep black women from escaping the black community. Did y'all hear he is starting a petition to make interracial marriage illegal? What the heck? See, the thing is this, he needs to start a petition to clean up the neighborhoods first. or mental health for those who are mentally injured first. Sorry, putting black women into a prison. No, if you can get out, get out. He wants to make it illegal for black women and black men to get to marry out. Wow. Black men are gonna be hella mad at him because they do it more. Yep, Ellen, you're right. Black men are jealous of black women. If they weren't, if we were not jealous of black women, number one, aside of a million underlining things, when black women were offered that money, that $5 billion to start their businesses, we should have been cheering for them. Like, well, at least y'all should have been cheering for them, like I was. Okay, and what do we do? Every red pill channel. Well, why did they get the money? Why did they get the money? Anyway, sorry, we're jumping into this. Okay, we're going to jump into this right now. Here we go.
Now let's get into it. It was a chilly and damp Tuesday morning in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. Rain had been coming and going all night, making the roads slick. As the clock struck 7 a.m., the traffic on Highway I-540 was bustling, with the usual crowd of people hustling to get to work, some carrying their morning coffee, while others were parents in a rush to drop their kids off at school. Many commuters, shrouded in darkness, usually enjoyed the serene sunrise on their way to work. But this January 30th, the traffic seemed heavier than usual. There was quite a commotion on the side of the highway. As the sun started to show itself, highlighting the usual browns of the foliage this time of year, a traffic jam developed on the westbound side of I-540 near mile marker 18.
Wait a minute. So what he was saying that black women can't marry out, but black men can? Let me know if I was right on that. That would be crazy.
Something wasn't right, and it was causing nearly a complete stop on the highway. Suddenly, the police began to receive an influx of reports about a body on the highway. James West, who lived just minutes away from the Lewisburg exit, got a call from his wife. She was on her way to drop their daughter off at school and had reached mile marker 18 on I-540 westbound. She informed him about a lady who may be in need of help on the highway. James hopped into his truck and rushed to the scene. Despite the rain, it took him only 5 minutes to get there. When he arrived, he found 2 other men already there, one in his car and another on the phone standing beside his car. James pulled up behind them and asked what was going on. They informed him that the woman was unfortunately dead. These men were fellow motorists who also spotted the woman. Shortly after, sheriffs would arrive to the scene, bringing with them EMS personnel and firefighters. The scene quickly became quite busy. The first thought was that she was a pedestrian that was perhaps struck by accident on the side of the road. The woman's body was positioned high up on the sloping area of the highway shoulder, almost as if it had been deliberately placed there for public view. Her legs were at the highest point of the slope, with her head positioned at the bottom, closest to the highway. Both her arms and legs were outstretched, creating the unsettling shape of an X. As police arrived on the scene, it became clear that her death was much more nefarious.
That was horrible, man.
It was clear she suffered multiple stab wounds about her face, neck, chest, and abdomen. This was murder. Law enforcement and representatives from the medical examiner's office moved quickly to drape her with a blue tarp and begin their investigation. The woman was of Black descent and appeared to be in her early 20s. The burning question on everyone's mind was who could have done such a thing and how did they manage to bring her here? Investigators combed the area for clues, questioning motorists at the scene, but nobody seemed to have any information. It was a very busy stretch of highway, and Darren Curtis, a young North Carolina State University student, found himself stuck in the unusually heavy traffic jam around 8 a.m. that morning. He had left home about 7:30 a.m. heading to his part-time job at Telecrest Tax, taking his usual route on I-64 and then I-540 West. As Darren sat in traffic with everyone else, He noticed the congestion centered around a blue tarp on the highway embankment as he passed mile marker 18 and the Lewisburg exit. Something about it raised his suspicions, giving him an ominous, fleeting feeling. Deciding to investigate, he circled back for a second look and slowed down as he passed the blue tarp this time. About half a mile down the road, Darren's heart sank as he spotted a familiar white sedan on the shoulder of the Lewisburg Road exit. Panic set in as he pulled up behind it, recognizing the license plate and the plastic framing around it. It was his wife, Latrice's car. Upon closer inspection, he noticed the car was a mess. The center console broken off, books scattered everywhere. He recalled taking pictures with Latrice back in November. Some of them were still on the back seat, intended as gifts for Christmas that never happened. After spotting what appeared to be blood in the doorframe of his wife's car, Darren grabbed one of the pictures and hurried down to the scene he had just passed. There, a deputy met him. He showed the picture, saying, "This is my wife, and that is her car. Please tell me that's not her under that tarp." But sadly, Darren's worst nightmare came true as detectives confirmed that the deceased woman was indeed his beautiful 21-year-old wife of 9 months, Latrice Curtis. And soon, investigators would relay the devastating news to Latrice's parents. Born as Latrice Matrell to Sherman
Susie Bear, Google that, the definition of cucking, you'll find out.
and Cynthia Jones on May 28, 1986, in Raleigh, North Carolina, Latrice was affectionately known as Treese by her friends and her 3 big brothers, Justin, Marlon, and Jason, as well as her sister, Shanisha. Latrice, a daddy's girl, was incredibly focused and driven to succeed. Not only was she stunningly beautiful, but she also had a magnetic personality that knew no strangers. Despite having numerous male
You're correct, Ellen. She's very pretty.
admirers, Latrice remained focused on her studies, a commitment that paid off when she was accepted to Bennett College and Wake Tech. During her time at Bennett, Latrice crossed paths with a handsome and ambitious accounting major named Darren Curtis. The two hit it off instantly and started dating. Things progressed rapidly for Darren and Latrice, and soon they found themselves deeply in love. After just 1 year of dating, wedding bells rang for the couple. Darren appeared to be a respectable young man. He was a former National Guard member who seemed responsible, mature, and grounded, but given the secretive nature of their nuptials, Latrice's protective father and brothers weren't quite warmed up to the idea of embracing Darren with open arms. Her father was traditional, and he wanted to be asked for his daughter's hand in marriage. However, after spending some time with Darren, the family's perspective changed, realizing Darren was a good guy after all.
Okay. Keep going, Darren. Let's go.
Following their nuptials, the new couple moved into their first apartment on River Shadow Court, and Latrice would transfer to North Carolina Central University in Durham to complete her business degree. Like many young couples embarking on their educational and career journeys together, Darren and Latrice faced the challenges of spending hours apart, but always made sure to check in with each other. But in the early morning of January 30th, just 9 months into their marriage, a senseless act would rob them of their future, leaving their family in profound shock and disbelief. After delivering the horrifying news that the body under the tarp was indeed his beautiful wife, detectives began to console Darren as they continued to process the scene. But detectives were perplexed about how Darren, who they hadn't contacted yet, turned out to be one of the first on the scene.
Yeah, that kind of seemed kind of weird. But I mean, maybe he drove, well, let's see what happens. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt right now.
Question lingered. How did he coincidentally drive by just when the scene was unfolding? About half a mile down the road from the blue tarp, detectives would tape off Latrice's and Darren's cars, marking them as part of the crime scene. Detective Malinowski, arriving at the scene around 8:45 a.m., was tasked with photographing the area and both vehicles. Upon inspection of Latrice's Nissan Sentra, it was evident that a struggle had taken place. The detective discovered bloodstains in the doorframe, prompting the collection of blood samples and touch DNA from the steering.
Sorry to stop it for a minute. Queen, I'm wondering, do you think you can talk, Princella into writing a book on how to avoid dudes like this? I know 41 Shades is a start, but maybe some on 41 Shades Part 2, how to stay away from sociopaths. I don't know. I'm just frustrated. This is frustrating to see stuff like this.
Steering wheel. In the passenger seat, she found a wedding ring set, a clump of hair on the floor of the driver's seat. A purse was situated on the floor of the right passenger side, and a pair of silver hoop earrings stained with blood were discovered underneath the driver's seat. The car seat cover and the seat adjustment lever were also stained with blood, and then both vehicles were later towed for processing. Detective Malinowski measured and sketched the scene, while representatives from the medical examiner's office removed the tarp and conducted a visual examination of the body, noting a hair on Latrice's right breast. Upon closer examination, they discovered multiple stab wounds and 2 broken nails, indicating she had fought back. To preserve potential DNA evidence, her hands were immediately covered. Nearby, her shoes and a sock were scattered. She wore a white baby fat jacket soaked in blood. When her body was turned over, they observed stab wounds that penetrated from the front to the back of her jacket. Even her bra was soaked, and her pink and white blouse, along with her jeans, were heavily stained. Although her jeans were pulled down, her underwear remained in place. At the scene, police found a cell phone and pieces of duct tape. They discovered a footprint and a tire track, so they took
Dang, that's messed up.
impressions of those.
Mistress Newbie breaks it down like this. DJ Torch, hopefully she can save the 81,000 that have subscribed to her channel. That's a start. Bars, Mistress Newbie, bars. Exactly. You know, I like what she does over there because what she is selling, if you want to make it sound like a store, is safety and caution. And that's priceless to me. If somebody's going to tell me how, let me make an example in fishing terms. If somebody can tell me how not to drown in a river, I'm going to buy that book if it's going to, for that one time that I don't want to drown. They can, these fools, her naysayers, they can talk all the smack they want. They're unconstructive. They're unproductive. They're useless. They're making the problem worse. She's trying to protect women. End of story.
They also found blood on the cement of the highway. It was a grim scene that continued to affect traffic well into the afternoon. Latrice had endured nearly 40 stab wounds, indicating that this was a deeply personal and targeted attack, as the perpetrator cut her from her left ear to the right side of her neck, severing her carotid artery, jugular vein, Adam's apple, and vocal cords. The result was near decapitation. Multiple stab wounds were inflicted on her left shoulder, underarm, abdomen, and her chest, with 2 creating exit wounds on her back. Evidence suggested that part of the struggle occurred inside her car, where the center console was broken and blood was discovered on the steering wheel. However, a puzzling question remained. Why was her car found so far down the road from her body? DNA found on her steering wheel and beneath Latrice's nails indicated a highly violent scene. Detectives sent the DNA evidence to the state crime lab for testing while they continued their search for a potential motive. Determined to unravel the truth,
I agree, Mr. Snoopy. That was some serious hate. This was, Miss RV, this is vicious. This is crazy. Yeah, so let's see where it goes. I want to see who did it, because I have a question to pose to everybody out there in TV land. Here we go.
Detectives turned their attention to Darren. They pondered whether he could be involved and was attempting to divert the investigation, and if he could have committed such a heinous act against his new wife. The possibility of it being a random crime seemed unlikely given the intensely personal nature of Latrice's death. Whoever was responsible for this act was driven by anger. When Detective Brent David arrived at the scene around 10 a.m., he talked to Darren. Darren grew increasingly concerned as he contemplated the possibilities of how the vehicle he had just seen could actually be his wife's. Detective David determined that it would be best to continue questioning Darren at the police station that day. So the detective arranged for Darren to be transported to the station for further inquiry. There, Darren told police she had not come home the night before, and the last time he spoke to her was around 10 p.m. And according to Darren, during that conversation, his wife had called saying she was at the library and would pick up something to eat before heading home. Darren recalled.
Okay, let me stop it right here. Guessing time. Get time to guess, folks. If you think he did it, Curtis did it. If Darren Curtis did it, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't think he did it, put a 2 in the chat. 1 in the chat, 2 in the chat. Let me know. Here we go.
Falling asleep around 11:30 p.m. and upon waking up at 6:30 a.m., he discovered she wasn't there. After calling her and receiving no response, he assumed she might have stopped at her parents' place. Believing nothing was amiss, he showered and ate his breakfast, intending to call her again when he got to work. According to Darren, he then tried calling Latrice's brother and then her dad, but as it would turn out, she didn't go there. Darren recalled even calling his wife's pregnant friend, and no one had seen Latrice. So he decided to call 911 and make a missing persons report.
My wife goes to school out at North Carolina Central, and she did not come home last night. I talked to her last night. She was on her way home. She was in the car and everything. She hadn't showed up since.
Worried about where she could possibly be, Darren decided to pull the call logs of her phone since they were on the same account. To his
Pause it right there. Ellen says this: I was attacked like 9 times in my life, all by black males who fought them off, all of them. The only thing that helped me when I was by myself is my reflexes and a right hook. Good for you. Good for you. Should I carefully tell it? Well, not even carefully. Get mace. Get mace. It might save your life. It might buy you the time you need to escape. It's unfortunately it's that type of environment we are in. Here we go.
shock, numerous calls were made well after his last conversation with.
I'd like to welcome Rack Girl in the chat, along with Quita, Ellen, Miss RV, Spicy Black Tina, Indiana Mom, Bridget Mouton, Mistress Newbie. Here we go.
Her, extending beyond 11:30 p.m. However, one number stood out as repeated calls were exchanged. Some were just 1 minute apart. Intrigued, Darren dialed the number and engaged with the male voice on the other end. Questioning the voice, he asked, "How do you know Latrice?" The response came from school, but the voice persistently inquired, "Is Latrice okay?" Nearing his wit's end, Darren proceeded to call the state trooper to inquire about possible accidents. There were no leads. So Darren would return to the scene. This time, as he passed the blue tarp, he noticed a sedan that looked like Latrice's on the Lewisburg exit ramp. He pulled up behind it, noticing it was a mess, with the center console broken off, books strewn about, and the pictures they took last November on the back seat. Darren then tells police he went around to the driver's side door to open it. There he observed blood in the frame, prompting him to immediately close it and head down to the scene. While Darren's account held a semblance of truth, the timing of his arrival at the scene coinciding almost precisely with the police raised suspicions. It seemed too convenient that he happened upon the site of his wife's murder just as law enforcement arrived. Despite his assurance that this was his regular route to work, detectives couldn't shake off the feeling that there might be more to the story. On the surface, Darren and Latrice appeared to have a harmonious relationship. However, detectives couldn't help but wonder if there were undisclosed issues brewing behind closed doors. As in many of these cases, it's the husband behind the crime. And Darren's discovery of the mystery man's late night calls to Latrice added another layer of intrigue. Could this be a potential motive for Darren to murder his wife? Despite the plausibility of Darren's narrative, detectives grew increasingly suspicious, so they would ask him to roll up his sleeves to inspect his
Dang, they really think it's him.
hands and arms. Then they requested he undress down to his underwear for photographs, and Darren willingly complied with the search.
Yeah, let me
Detectives
pause that right there. Yeah, Ellen, I am so sorry you went through that. And I'm so sorry to all the women out there who have gone through that type of situation. That's why I'm here. That's why Princella is doing what she's doing. That's why Cynthia G was doing what she's doing. It's all about caution, seeing the signs, seeing, knowing when to get out, knowing when to get away, knowing when to avoid. all of that. Let me keep it going.
Were looking for signs of a struggle, but Darren showed no indications of such injuries. The detectives persisted in their inquiries, delving into intimate details about Darren's marriage. They sought to understand whether he and Latrice faced any marital challenges. Darren swiftly denied any issues, emphatically claiming they were deeply in love. With no grounds to detain Darren further, the detectives released him for the day. But before he left, they asked for Darren's permission to search both his car and apartment 304, the couple's shared residence. Without hesitation, Darren replied, "Do what you need to do." In their pursuit of a murder weapon, signs of a struggle, and traces of blood, detectives applied luminol while searching through Darren's car and the shared apartment. However, their efforts turned up nothing that could connect Darren to the crime. As the medical examiner concluded the autopsy the following day, a startling piece of evidence emerged. They discovered a condom. It was still inside her body. This revelation intensified suspicions regarding the events leading up to Latrice's tragic death.
Wow, this is getting deep, folks.
When her body was discovered, her pants were pulled down to her hips, yet her underwear remained in place. The autopsy revealed no signs of sexual injury. The presence of the condom raises puzzling questions for detectives, shedding light on the possibility that Latrice might have been intimate shortly before her demise. This, in turn, prompts the
The rat girl, you actually nailed it. I'm so ashamed of my crew, my men, fellow men, because of this. If we were the kings we're supposed to be, why aren't we treating black women like queens? If we are supposed to be the best choice for black women, why are we the ones doing the most damage to black women? It's that simple. There's no way around it. There's just no way around it. I'm telling you. Here we go.
The unsettling question: whose condom was it? And could a sexual encounter have precipitated the vicious attack? In light of the newfound evidence, detectives promptly issued subpoenas for Darren's and Latrice's phone records. Upon thorough examination, it became apparent that Darren's account of the events aligned with the records after all. He and Latrice last communicated at 10 p.m. the night before, and he did call her at 6:30 a.m. the next morning, and then around 8 a.m., he called her brother, dad, and friend as he recounted. However, their scrutiny revealed another startling revelation. A series of calls occurred with one number shortly before Latrice's murder, and that number led back to someone named Stephen Randolph. But
Pause it right there. Mistress Nuvi breaks it down like this. And the crazy part is these black men say we should have chose better, like the men that assaulted us were Pookies and Ray Rays. They are blue collar, government, white collar, etc. That is very true. Very true. I call them, let's just say, let's put it this way. The men that do stuff like this, they are actually the undercover Pookies and Ray Rays.
who on earth is Stephen Randolph? So, detectives immediately began looking into Stephen Randolph and his potential connection with Latrice. Stephen Randolph was a charismatic basketball player at NCCU who was capturing the attention of many young ladies with his good looks. As a senior at the university, he had been a key player on the NCCU basketball team for 3 years, harboring aspirations of establishing a professional career in the NBA. Stephen and Latrice initially crossed paths while attending classes in the same building. Over the recent months, their connection deepened. They frequently met to engage in conversations and study together. But just who is Stephen Randolph to Latrice? Well, detectives didn't have to search far because just 2 days after Latrice's body was found, Stephen voluntarily walked into the Wake County Sheriff's Office, eager to discuss Latrice's case.
Wow. Good for Stephen. Good for Stephen.
He wasn't alone. Accompanying him was his roommate, Robert Reeves, a local pastor of a small storefront church
Oh,
in Durham.
not another priest. And a priest goes in the mix. You never know. Here we go.
Detectives promptly ushered the two men into separate interrogation rooms. Wasting no time, detectives questioned Stephen. How do you know Latrice? Stephen replied, We met back in September and had a few classes together. We're just friends who went to the movies, dinner before, and talked over the phone. He acknowledged seeing her on the night before her discovery, stating they spent a casual evening together. However, when confronted with the phone records and the condom discovered during Latrice's autopsy, Stephen began to realize he'd better come clean. Stephen revealed that Latrice had visited him around 8 p.m. the night before, emphasizing that it had only been the second time she had been to his place there in Durham. Stephen described their intimate encounter as spontaneous, a moment that happened naturally between friends who often shared their problems. When asked if he used a condom, Stephen confirmed that he did, but he explained that the condom became lodged inside her. And despite their attempts to retrieve it, they were unsuccessful. He described walking her upstairs to the bathroom where she tried again without success. Eventually,
Okay.
Latrice decided she would be much more comfortable handling the matter in the privacy of her own bathroom. Stephen continued, stating that he walked her to her car and they said their goodbyes. But before she left, he asked her to let him know once she safely arrived home. Then both he and Latrice left the house around 10 p.m.
Let me pause it right there for a minute. Susie Bear says this. Here's the thing. Men of other races do not make callous statements like you should have chose better. No, they don't. When I hear black men say things like this, I automatically know that they relate to violent men. Exactly. The only time I've heard somebody of another race say that is they were actually racist themselves. So that's not a good thing, if you know what I mean. And that's not a good trait to have. Let's put it that way. And so, quite honestly, a lot of people they get mad at me for saying this, but I believe black men are probably starting to be one of the most bigoted men on earth. Unfortunately, we are going there. If you don't believe me, how many times have you seen men of us calling other men out of their name in different other men to men in different derogatory names? Whether it be sex derogatory name or skin color derogatory name or a physical feature derogatory name. We do it. We used to be at least heralded as the safe place um, for unity. And now I don't see that's where we're going. And the sad part is that right now it seems that we are attacking our own women the most. It's crazy.
Following a 10-minute drive, Stephen said he arrived at his girlfriend Velma Newton's place. Stephen admits that shortly after he arrived there at Velma's, Latrice called him several times. The background noise was much too loud, so he says he went into the bathroom to talk. He said that Latrice expressed apprehension of possibly being pregnant. Stephen then tells detectives they traded many messages that night. Then detectives posed a pointed question. Did you kill Latrice? Stephen vehemently replied, no. He stated that he had nothing to do with her murder. So why was Stephen so evasive at first? Why was he
Oh man, Bridget. Hi, hubby. Don't worry. I just have to remove something in the bathroom. Ooh, okay.
not forthcoming about his intimate affair with Latrice? With one woman and two men now involved in this mystery, could her vicious attack have been incited by a love triangle? In their quest for answers, the police turned their attention to Stephen's roommate, Robert Reeves, who happened to be in an interrogation room nearby. Robert is a 43-year-old pastor, lovingly known as the bishop among
Yes,
his
apparently, Tevin, she did cheat on her husband. Not worth the price she paid, but really, what's weird is that had nothing to do with them. Let's keep it going.
friends and the local Christian community. Pastor Reeves exuded poise, calm, and an air of confidence throughout his conversation with the detectives. He had a charming presence and was working to establish his small storefront church in Durham. His peers in the ministry viewed him as exemplary and committed to excellence in everything he did. Detectives would ask Pastor Reeves to recount how he and Stephen had come to know each other. Pastor Reeves would explain that they crossed paths at a car wash last summer. He said that Stephen said that he needed a job and a place to stay. He was impressed by Stephen, so he offered him the basement apartment in his house for around $300 a month. According to the minister, Stephen moved into the shared home with his sister that fall. Seeking a deeper understanding of Stephen and Latrice's relationship, detectives probed the pastor about the events of January 29th. He confirmed that Latrice had indeed visited that evening, clarifying that she had come over to see Stephen. Pastor Reeves informed the police that on the night of the murder, he observed Latrice's car parked outside his house as he left around 8:15 p.m.
Black girl, you bring up a very, very good argument because this is a black man who lived around an area where there were a lot of, supremacists, let's say that. And black men almost emulate the same behavior towards black women that these supremacists uh, that I exhibited from supremacists in the places where I live. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of good Caucasian people, but there are some very bad ones. And the bad ones, believe it or not, actually emulate a lot of what we see in the manosphere. They would actually, black men in the manosphere, I will say it like this, they have adopted the supremacists vibe. I'm going to just be nice and put it like that and not say it direct. But literally, they have the same mentality, just a different target. Same mentality. Same mentality. Same ideology. Okay? Just a different target. That's it. That's it. Here we go.
To go to church. He said he returned home around 11:30 p.m. and didn't see their cars. During his interview, Pastor Reeves would also voluntarily disclose some things about Stephen's and Latrice's relationship that Stephen had not shared. He said that Stephen had confided in him, revealing that Latrice had called him around midnight, expressing a desire to take their relationship to the next level. Stephen, in turn, informed her that he preferred to have that conversation face to face. The bishop alluded that Stephen's relationship with Latrice might have been much more serious for Latrice than he was letting on. This fresh perspective undoubtedly left police to ponder whether Latrice's potential pregnancy and her desire for a deeper commitment could have served as a motive for her murder. Pastor Reeves continued to volunteer information about Stephen.
Ellen breaks it down like this. The bishop looks gay though. And then Queen backs it up, saying, gay as a rainbow.
Hearing that Stephen kept a collection of knives and swords at home. Could an unwanted pregnancy have evolved into the ultimate obstacle, jeopardizing Stephen's potential multi-million-dollar contract? Was this a potential hindrance to the successful career Stephen had been diligently pursuing? Within the window of 48 hours since Latrice's murder, the quest to uncover the perpetrator became more complex. Despite the murderer remaining unidentified, the intricate details of the affair and remarks from Stephen's roommate hinting at his potential involvement added a new layer of mystery to the investigation. Stephen and Latrice's intimate encounter that left the condom inside of her, leading to the potential for a pregnancy, did not align well with Stephen's dreams of becoming an
Stephen.
NBA star. And with the new intel of Stephen's sword collection, detectives are now considering Stephen as a suspect and
Welcome to the fray, Stephen.
Latrice's potential pregnancy as a potential motive to get rid of her. Armed with this newfound information, detectives obtain a search warrant for Stephen's car and residence. Detectives even searched the minister's storefront church, as Stephen had recently assisted the bishop with moving furniture in the space. But after hours of searching, detectives found no evidence of a struggle or a murder weapon. Again, turning up empty-handed, the police decided to verify Stephen's alibi by bringing in his girlfriend, Velma Newton, for questioning. When Velma arrived
Wait
at
a
the
minute.
station,
Okay, so they was cheating on each other, man. I mean, they were cheating on their respective spouses or partners with somebody else. Dang, this is getting messy. She looked mad too. Velma looked mad. Velma is not pleased. She's in the courtroom. She's not pleased. Susie Bear breaks it down just like this. Miss RV, black men can be women beaters, serial unalivers, peds, drags, dealers, etc. Them being unalived or getting anything over 5 years in prison, is the system doing way too much? But a black woman stepping on their, let's see if there's more here. Stepping on there. Okay, let me keep it going. Okay, let me see what we got right here. Why is a pastor a roommate of a college student? Oh, you know something? That's a good question. I'm gonna we'll find out here in a minute. Rat girl, you can be serious in Times Square. Okay, cleansing, Germany, apartheid. Okay, Africa. I'm gonna go on from that. Here we go.
She was specifically asked about Stephen's whereabouts on the night of January 29th. She stated that he came over around 10 p.m. and left around 1 a.m. This aligned with what Stephen had told police. But with the medical examiner estimating Latrice's time of death between 1 and 2 a.m., neither Velma's nor Stephen's alibis were foolproof. When questioned about Stephen's possible involvement in Latrice's murder, Velma adamantly stated that there's no way he could be responsible. According to her, he's not that kind of person. He's a great guy. When asked if she had any involvement in Latrice's death, she emphatically replied, no. Velma was adamant that they were both innocent. Velma's
Wow, okay. Let's see.
interview left detectives intrigued, and then she dropped a bombshell. She revealed that she believed the person responsible for Latrice's murder might also be targeting her. She told police that in October, she started receiving threatening calls from someone demanding her to end her relationship with Stephen. The caller threatened to break his legs and ruin his basketball career if she didn't comply. One night,
Damn.
after Stephen had visited her, he found all 4 of his tires slashed outside of her apartment. Then Stephen explained to her that earlier that day after school, 1 tire had been slashed, so he went to the gas station to fix it before coming over. Having all 4 tires slashed on the same night indicated to him that not only was he being followed, but also someone disapproved of his sexual partners. Velma informed detectives that merely 1 week after Stephen's tires were slashed in front of her apartment, she found her own tires similarly vandalized.
Dang, that's crazy.
During this unsettling incident, she received yet another threatening call from a blocked number. This time, she managed to record the call and share the recording with the detectives. This information captivated the detectives. Could it be a mere coincidence, or were these incidents somehow connected to Latrice's case? Before delving too deep into speculation, a tip from Trooper Isaac Cooper took the investigation in a new direction. Trooper Cooper informed detectives that at 1:30
That's a weird name, Trooper Cooper.
a.m., while he was heading eastbound on I-540, he noticed a vehicle with flashing hazard lights. Activating his blue lights, he pulled up behind the tan vehicle. He initially believed someone might need assistance, only to realize upon closer inspection it was unoccupied. Despite intermittent rain, Trooper Cooper found the vehicle's window halfway down, the door unlocked, and the keys left inside. As he opened the minivan door, he could hear the chimes indicating the presence of keys. The opened driver's side door revealed dark clothing, a jacket with writing on it, a woman's green sweater, and a package of cigarettes in the cup holder on the passenger side.
Man, okay. Keep digging, man.
Shining his flashlight around the vehicle into the nearby wood line, he saw no one. After calling in the license plate, he messaged another on-duty trooper, questioning why someone would leave a car on the side of I-540 with doors unlocked, window down, and keys in the ignition. Trooper Cooper then spotted another vehicle with hazard lights flashing on the opposite side of the highway. It was a light-colored 4-door sedan that seemed to match the description of Latrice's car. The license plate check for the minivan, which turned out to be a Chrysler Pacifica, revealed that it was registered to none other other than Robert Reeves of Durham, the pastor and roommate of the prime suspect,
Uh-oh.
Stephen Randolph. This inevitably left detectives questioning why the minister was on the side of I-540 at 1:30 in the morning. The potential answer to this question would
Same
only
reason the minister be hanging out with Diddy. Not any good reasons.
highlight that this case had more twists than originally thought. Latrice had been brutally stabbed over 40 times in her face, neck, chest, and abdomen. In the midst of the investigation, detectives uncover Latrice's steamy affair with mystery man Stephen Randolph, and now a minister may be involved. This was a violent and deeply personal crime. Neither Stephen Randolph's nor his girlfriend Velma's alibis were airtight. Now detectives are wondering, what connection could the pastor have had to her murder? It's evident that detectives now need to bring Pastor Reeves back in for questioning. With Trooper Cooper's statement, not only is Stephen Randolph in the crosshairs of the investigation, but so is Pastor Robert Reeves.
Man, I mean, everybody's in the mix. Everybody's in the mix. Dang.
So detectives summoned Robert Reeves back for another round of questioning later that Friday night. As soon as the minister arrives, he finds himself in the hot seat. Detectives cut to the chase. Let's take this from the top, Pastor. Tell us again, what did you do the night of January 29th? Pastor Reeves recounts going to church around 8:15 p.m. and returning home at 11:30 p.m. He asserts that he stayed home after that. However, when detectives press further, asking if he drove his car to I-540 in Raleigh at 1:30 in the morning, the minister stated he wasn't familiar with where Raleigh was located, claiming he did not drive anywhere and was not on the side of I-540 that night. But Pastor Reeves introduces a twist, suggesting that it might have been Stephen who drove his car. He said that Stephen had his own set of keys and occasionally borrowed his car. To verify his story, police reached out to Pastor Reeves' roommate and sister, Willamay Thorpe. According to the pastor, he attended the River Church that evening, the same church his sister went to. However,
Interesting. Interesting. The plot thickens. El Viejo Pues says this. Indiana mom, no offense, but the Der, Divertido community is so minuscule compared to the whole that it really is irrelevant to the whole. Got it. Okay. Welcome, LV Academy Hub for women in the house. I mean, not LV. I mean, LW. Okay. You're not here. Anyway, okay, let me keep this going. Here we go.
when questioned about his whereabouts, the minister's sister contradicted his claim, saying she didn't see her brother at church that night. And when she finally saw her brother the next day, he would ask her, "How was the service?" Detectives now facing a puzzling situation. Is the pastor lying? And if so, why? Is he protecting Stephen Randolph, or does he have a connection
Wait a minute.
to
Pastors never lie. They never lie. Never.
Reese's murder? Determined to get to the bottom of things, detectives requested Pastor Reeves roll up his sleeves. During the interrogation,
Hey, that's a good point. Bridget Mouton says this. Why would Stephen need to borrow the pastor's car? Shouldn't he have his own?
He noticed abrasions on his right hand and arm. When questioned about the scratches, the minister explained that he and Stephen were moving a large desk and he fell backward, scraping his arm. He also mentioned that he had a neurological problem and was practically paralyzed in his left arm. Detectives follow with a request that he undress in preparation for investigative photos, and they immediately notice abrasions under his right knee. Detectives then ask for a DNA sample, to which the minister complies. Meanwhile, Stephen Randolph is brought in for a second interview. Detectives get straight to the point, asking if he borrowed the minister's car that night. Stephen admits to borrowing the minister's car, but not recently. He vehemently denies borrowing Bishop's car on that particular night and claimed no recollection of any accident involving the desk. When
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Pressed again, Stephen remains firm in his denial of any accident when moving the desk. But Stephen hinted that he had more to say about the minister. According to Stephen, the minister isn't quite who everyone thinks he is. He described him as a little weird and mentioned instances where the minister invaded his privacy, especially regarding his relationship with
Oh, let me stop right there. That's actually a good point. People who invade your privacy, I don't mean like the accidental, even though sometimes they try to make it look like it's an accident. Not the accidental situations, but where they just, they're invading your privacy when you don't want your privacy invaded. Then something is up. Then that is a red flag. That is a red flag.
Latrice. One night after Latrice left, the minister acted suspiciously. Stephen claimed that the minister came down to his room and asked if he had been intimate with the woman who had just left. It was Latrice's first visit to Stephen's since he moved in with the bishop. Stephen says he admitted to being intimate with her, and that's when things took a strange turn. The minister began asking inappropriate questions, such as whether Stephen had considered being a male escort. As a struggling student,
What? Wait a minute. Wait, what? I need to hear that again.
again, Stephen remains firm in his denial of any accident when moving the desk, but Stephen hinted that he had more to say about the minister. According to Stephen, the minister isn't quite who everyone thinks he is. He described him as a little weird and mentioned instances where the minister invaded his privacy, especially regarding his relationship with Latrice. One night after Latrice left, the minister acted suspiciously. Stephen claimed that the minister came down to his room and asked if he had been intimate with the woman who had just left. It was Latrice's first visit to Stephen's since he moved in with the bishop. Stephen says he admitted to being intimate with her, and that's when things took a strange turn. The minister began asking inappropriate questions, such as whether Stephen had considered being a male escort. As a struggling student, Stephen never considered the idea, but thought it could be a way to make some extra cash. The minister then delved into explicit details, asking about the size of Stephen's private area. He asked him,
Just like, didn't Kevin Samuels ask the size of some guys, private area? Nah. He's too much of a man. He's too much of a man.
if he was clean and to show it to him for inspection and for measuring. The minister began his inspection and noticed that Stephen had not cleaned up from his recent activities.
What?
He asked
Wait
him,
a minute. Wait a minute. What did he inspect? Wait a minute. What?
to say about the minister. According to Stephen, the minister isn't quite who everyone thinks he is. He described him as a little weird and mentioned instances where the minister invaded his privacy, especially regarding his relationship with Latrice. One night after Latrice left, the minister acted suspiciously. Stephen claimed that the minister came down to his room and asked if he had been intimate with the woman who had just left. It was Latrice's first visit to Stephen's since he moved in with the bishop. Stephen says he admitted to being intimate with her, and that's when things took a strange turn.
Oh my God. The LW Academy Hub for Women says this. Oh my gosh. Why are pastors always engaging in this kind of effery? SMH. I mean, it seems like, I don't know. It just seems like pastors are not pastors.
Minister began asking inappropriate
Welcome, Tanya Sweat. It's Tanya Sweat in the house. Good seeing you.
questions, such as whether Stephen had considered being a male escort. As a struggling student, Stephen never considered the idea, but thought it could be a way to make some extra cash. The minister then delved into explicit details, asking about the size of Stephen's
What
private.
in the hell? Now the minister is asking if he wants to be a male escort, and then goes. That kind of sounds like sex trafficking to me. I mean, of course, the young man's grown, but still, man, what in the world is going on here? What? Let's find out. I'm about to hit play. I'm about to hit play. Here we go.
He asked him if he was clean and to show it to him for inspection and for measurement.
What the heck? What? He wants to inspect his Johnson. What?
Measuring. The minister began his inspection and noticed that Stephen had not cleaned up from his recent activities. He asked him about his experiences with men.
Oh my. Oh, let me just a little bit. Here we go.
And noticed that Stephen had not cleaned up from his recent activities.
That's
He
gross.
asked him about his experiences with men and then told him to go get cleaned up. By this time, Stephen was on to him. Feeling uncomfortable, Stephen declined his advances. Despite this, over time, the minister persisted, attempting to convince Stephen that with his eyes closed, the experience would be no different than if he were with a woman. The minister even
Oh my. Oh. So oh. So he's trying to sell a different lifestyle to this dude. Saying it won't feel any different. Oh man. Inspecting his stuff. I mean, oh man. Let me catch myself for a minute. That caught me off guard. That's creepy. And this a pastor. Dang. You're supposed to save people. You're supposed to save people, not the opposite. Yeah, and that's the weird thing, Miss RV. And he let him, he let him inspect. It's like, what are you doing? That's weird. The minister wanted to clean it up for him. Yeah, apparently that's the case. Man. Yeah, why is Stephen letting him do all of this inspection? That's creepy as hell. I mean, I mean, we have to think that's kind of like, and maybe Stephen's on the DL too. Man. Yeah, this is crazy. This is crazy. Welcome, Madison Goldman. Let's keep it going. Here we go.
even went so far as to offer Stephen free rent in exchange for certain favors. Stephen
Man. How creepy can you get? He sounds like from a priest to a pimp.
promptly rejected these advances, and the minister quickly apologized. But Stephen no longer felt safe there. For his protection, he borrowed a gun from his cousin D'Angelo and slept with it underneath his pillow every night since. Stephen
If you
told
have to do all that, you need to get out that day. You need to get out that night. I mean, if you have to stay at a homeless shelter, whatever, you need to get out that night. If you feel like you have to have a gun under I should say, under your blanket, you really do. You need to get out. You need to get gone immediately. Male or female, man or woman, you need to be gone. Oh man. You did. I don't know why. Yeah, I, I just keep walking into these, Quita. I don't know what's going on here, Man. Man, let's keep going. Here we go.
Piece that shortly after these incidents, his girlfriend Velma started receiving threatening phone calls. About those threatening calls, detectives asked as they retrieved the recording Velma had shared during her interview. Do you recognize the voice?
I just want to say I'm sorry about what happened.
Let me pause. Tanya Swift says this is sounding like that movie, The Under Shepherd SMH. Yeah, it's sounding creepy.
Stephen promptly identified that's the bishop. In the recording, the voice was offering apologies to Velma for slashing her tires. This revelation marked a significant breakthrough in the case. Detectives swiftly moved to substantiate this information by cross-referencing it with phone records. When detectives
Exactly. Madison Goldman. Why do people go to church anymore with this going on? That's a hard question that a lot of people have to ask because unfortunately, it's quite common. I mean, from the Vatican to churches around here, and I'm not saying TD is guilty or not because I haven't really heard enough, but it's just weird that you know um, how closely tied churches and sex trafficking are. It's weird.
requested the minister's phone, the minister went into what he called his man purse and retrieved 2 cell phones from his bag. He declared
Oh, he's got a man purse just like Kevin Samuels had a man purse.
one was for business and the other he referred to as his fun phone. Detectives grew suspicious that the minister might
Fun phone.
really be behind the threatening calls to Velma. After reviewing phone records, it was confirmed that the minister had indeed made threatening calls to both Velma and Stephen using his fun phone, dialing star 67 to block his number each time. Had this
Damn. The LW Academy Hub breaks it down like this. Yep. That was some very ineffective grooming. Yes, in fact, it was slightly effective because why was he letting another man that was not a doctor touch his D? Yep. That's weird. Yep. And wait. Inspect his D.
this point in the case, investigations indicated that Robert was deeply jealous of anyone involved with Stephen Randolph due to his infatuation with him. However, the lingering question remained, was he jealous enough to commit murder? As events unfolded, it was revealed that Robert Reeves had been concealing a history of predatory sexual behavior. He had assaulted 2 other young men, and in 2005, he lured a young man to live with him, attempting to
What?
manipulate him with the same male escort narrative he used on Stephen. The minister was living a double life, functioning as both a pastor and
How
a
are we still calling him a minister? I would have been like making sure I put ex-minister in this, but I digress.
sexual deviant. DNA analysis from Latrice's body and car yielded startling results. Samples from Latrice's right hand contained a mixture of her DNA and that of Stephen Randolph. Further tests revealed that DNA from cuttings of Latrice's underwear and swabs from her intimate areas also matched that of Stephen Randolph. While this raised suspicions, it could be explained by their intimate encounter hours before her death. The most shocking revelation came from the swab on the steering wheel in Latrice's Nissan Sentra. It contained a mixture of Latrice's and the DNA of the minister himself.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Susie Bear breaks it down like this. Yep. When men start talking about private sizes, I know that they're usually, yep, bling bling. Women don't concern ourselves with men's size as they think we do. Bars.
Robert Reeves. Detectives sought an explanation for the minister's DNA being inside Latrice's car. The answer, according to prosecutors, became crystal clear. When Latrice left Stephen that night, she was followed by the pastor. On the highway, she saw someone familiar flagging her down and was likely convinced to pull over. Robert then pulled up within inches behind her car. She never saw the knife coming. He began attacking her inside the car. Signs of a struggle, including a broken console, a blood-stained seat cover, and blood in the car door frame, indicated a violent encounter. Latrice sustained injuries in the car, likely rendering her unconscious but still alive. Robert dragged her from the car to the embankment, causing bilateral abrasions on her back and leaving bloodstains on the cement. The medical examiner said she was still alive. As he struggled to drag her by her feet up the slope of the embankment, she lost one
Damn, that's
shoe.
creepy. And just to think he was a man of the cloth.
And then another, and then a sock. So he likely began pulling the legs of her pants, which caused them to shift from her waist to her hips. There, he continued his violent attack. Latrice had very few defensive wounds, which indicated to the medical examiner that he likely straddled her, pinning her arms under his knees. Even though he suffers from paralysis in the left arm, he had the strength and rage to kill her, using primarily his right hand. Witnesses testified that Latrice's car was parked with flashing hazard lights in the same spot until around 2 a.m. when Trooper Cooper left the scene. This concealed her body from view of passersby. The medical examiner determined Latrice's time of death to be between 1 and 2 a.m. Following her murder, Robert Reeves made numerous calls from Latrice's cell phone. Many
Damn, that's crazy. The LW Academy Hub breaks it down like this. Yes, I don't go to church anymore. After I was told that God doesn't speak to us directly, but only speaks to you through the pastor, I knew something was up and stopped going. Bars.
of them menacing. He checked her voicemail many times, and at around 1:52 a.m., he called Latrice's best friend Kim, who found the call alarming because it was unlike Latrice to call at that time. Kim stayed on the line for several minutes, calling for Latrice. She could hear footsteps on gravel, strong wind, and the sounds of passing cars, yet Latrice remained silent. Later, Robert called Stephen from Latrice's phone. Several times after 2 a.m., Latrice was gone. But when Stephen answered, no one said anything. Prosecutors argued that the DNA on the steering wheel indicated that Robert drove her car half a mile away to the Lewisburg Road exit ramp after the murder. This is supported by Trooper Cooper's account and the testimony of numerous witnesses who observed Latrice's car in one location on the highway, only to find it at a different location, the Lewisburg exit ramp, when her body was discovered at 7:15 a.m. The minister then walked back to his car, which was parked on the eastbound side of I-540. Each of Robert's roommates had a personal alarm code, with Robert holding the master code. Brink's security system records revealed that he entered and disarmed the system using his master code at 2:33 a.m. on the morning of January 30th, despite telling police he had returned at 11:30 p.m. the night before and never left afterward. A receipt dated January 30th, discovered during a search, suggested that Robert made purchases that morning, supplies to dispose of potentially incriminating items with bloodstains. They
So
found
he actually, it's not like out of rage. He actually said, man.
burned fibers
Or
and a melted
not just rage.
trash can. On February 2nd, 2008, just 2 days after the discovery of Latrice Curtis's body, Pastor Robert Reeves faced formal charges for her murder.
After days of investigating, Wake County Sheriff's deputies have their man. Robert Reeves is charged with the murder of NC Central student Latrice Curtis. Her body was found Wednesday morning along I-540. While investigators have not said what relationship Reeves and Curtis had, they do confirm the pair knew each other. News of Reeves' arrest is just reaching his family in South Carolina.
He was energetic.
That girl says, well, I'm sure he's power bottoming in prison. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, he was just not a murderer.
In fact, Reeves has a long history of working as a pastor. In the mid-'80s, he was pastor of the Pleasant Hill Baptist Church in South Carolina. The current pastor there says he took over for Reeves after Reeves faced sex allegations in 1987. Court records show he was convicted of third-degree sex charges the next year.
That was his past. I thought, he rose above that.
His cousin says she thought Reeves had turned his life around. She says he's currently a bishop at a church in Durham. Deputies still maintain a presence outside his Durham home. Neighbors say he moved there 6 months ago and never expected this to happen in their own backyard.
During the prosecution's opening arguments, a disturbing narrative unfolded, depicting a man who had developed an escalating obsession with Stephen Randolph. This fixation, prosecutors asserted, escalated into a violent rage on the night of January 29, 2008. The driving force behind this rage was a potent mix of jealousy and unrequited advances toward Stephen. He wanted Latrice out of the way so that he could have a chance. Following a
That's just
two-week trial and 2 days of deliberation, the jury concluded that the state had successfully presented evidence establishing beyond a reasonable doubt that Robert Reeves was responsible for the murder of Latrice Curtis. Robert Lee Adams Reeves pleaded not guilty, but was ultimately convicted of first-degree murder of the beautiful North Carolina Central University student, Latrice.
right.
Please
Tell me he's under the jail. I mean, please tell me he's got like 1 million years. None of this BS.
Curtis.
Mr. Jones, that must have been a bittersweet It's all right. Come on over here. You get yourself together, Mr. Jones. I know this is difficult. This is your son.
Emotionally, it's taking everything out of me. I'm able to sleep, to eat. It's almost like reliving a year and 8 months ago all over again. But the best thing about this is I got closure to this thing. There's no more waiting, no more wondering. Now I know. Maybe now. We can go on with my life and try and get our lives back together. The emotions.
Let me pause it for 1 second. I remember when the BRICS situation came out and Black men in the manosphere were saying that they aren't about protecting anyone but their own at best, if that. I'm like this: if you don't want to protect Black women for Black women, why don't you protect Black women for Black men? Because just like this man here on the screen, a lot of these young ladies out there, they have men that do love them. You might not love Black women, but they do. So why, if you feel that much hatred for Black women, why don't you just go ahead and do it for the men that you love? Since it seems to be that men want to be there for men and not for women.
Just the last 2 weeks, it's just been it's unexplainable. It's unexplainable. But I tell you, I cried the tears of joy.
He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But
That works for me. I'm for prison reform as far as very, very, very light charges, like somebody who gets put in prison for 10 years for smoking a joint. And that was all they've ever done. Or, somebody who accidentally tripped over a cop's foot and they were put in jail for 10 years. Yeah, that's what you call prison reform. Not when you got sociopaths walking around. Sorry, just keep them. They're not helping the Black community. They're not helping the Black community, and they will never help the Black community. Grown men can't change. Most of the time, they don't. If anything, if you want it, the only thing I see happening is this. Instead of building prisons, you build asylums, and then you hire an army of psychotherapists to help them. That's the only way this problem is going to be fixed if you're going to let these guys out. Otherwise, nope, I'm good. You can stay in there forever. I don't want any turnarounds. I don't want any new appeals or anything like that. Nope. Nope. He's done enough.
Puzzling question still lingers. Why did Pastor Reeves choose a busy interstate as the location to set his plan in motion?
Because he's a nut. He's a nut bag.
Latrice Curtis deserves to be remembered as more than a tragic headline or a piece of criminal investigation. At just 21 years old, she stood at the threshold of life with dreams and possibilities that should have unfolded over the years ahead. Regardless of whether she had it all figured out or if marriage was even right for her at the time, Latrice deserved to be here, and her decisions gave no one a license to take her life.
Exactly. She did make some mistakes. She did. I agree with that. But not that kind of mistake where she deserves to pass away. That's just messed up.
She was a young, beautiful woman with a bright future ahead of her, a future that was brutally cut short. And she deserves to be remembered with honor and respect, not as a statistic, but as a person whose promising future was unjustly taken away. Let the focus remain on the injustice of her untimely and violent end, ensuring that she is remembered for the vibrant life that was tragically extinguished.
She was a daughter, she was a sister. I mean, she was somebody's niece. I mean, but most of all, I mean, she was my wife. She was my future.
What do you think about this case and the shocking twist involving Pastor Robert Reeves?
That was crazy. I mean, what do you think about what happened? My thinking is this, is that you can't put your guard down at all anymore, unfortunately. I'm not saying, don't trust nobody, but you definitely got to keep your guard up. If somebody's flagging you down on the freeway and you are a woman, it ain't your job to stop. It's not. It's not. I mean, men are supposed to be men, right? These men have literally, have literally seen men on Dee Dee's channel vow not to protect women, at least black women. So why, when you have a lot of men who are in the same ideology, want to stick your neck out for them? It's not about being bitter or tit for tat. It's about, you need to protect yourself. The LW Hub breaks it down like this. That's exactly what he is, a psycho or sociopath. There's no therapy for these people, unfortunately. No, not at all. No, I mean, they're, and you have to understand that men like that in your life are pretty much useless. Don't keep them around. I mean, I know this sounds freaking obvious because we just saw what happens when you get around these kind of guys. But I should say it just in case somebody was like, huh? You know what, really? Tanya Sweat says this, and to think growing up being told the people we kids should trust like this might be like this man. Exactly. They vote, yeah, you're right. Quita broke it down. They vote pastors in. They be dumb as a box of rocks. Most are, yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, LW again. Anybody who preached the Bible and does something like this is one of the paths. Exactly. SMH. I mean, this is crazy. This was crazy. So if any of you thought the pastor got what he was supposed to get, put a 1 in the chat. If you believe he should have got life in prison, put 1 in the chat. If you think he shouldn't, he's maybe a lesser sentence, put 2. 3 if he should have burnt it. 3 if he should have been burnt at the stake. You know, like the old school, like that, you know what I mean? Like the old school burn at the stake. Yep. This is crazy. Let me drop the link just in case somebody wants to come up and talk for a minute. There it is. Yeah, I'm something I was, I don't know, maybe I have mixed feelings about Black Lives Matter because theoretically it's a good notion. The only problem though is that we have so much work to do in our own community with the men in our own community that I don't know. I don't know. Susie says, Tevin Lifestyle Guy. Susie says this, yes, the King James Version is more geared towards slavery. However, every version of the Bible is rooted in war and controlling lesser humans. Bars. 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 BLM is about black men only. Yeah. Basically, I mean, at least at the most of the time, because you saw how only, yeah. And unfortunately, yeah. Let's just say, yes, Rat Girl, you nailed it. I'm 100 behind that. Because it didn't seem to be for black women. Because Black Lives Matter, we should have been focusing on making that our genre just between us and ignore law enforcement for now, because yes, they do treat us bad, but compared to us, unfortunately they pale in comparison, and that's a huge concern. That's a huge concern. That is a very huge concern. Anyway, it's getting late, y'all. DJ Torch and friends, and I'll tell you, the friends, they lit it up tonight. They gave me all the information and all the data I needed. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have more shows on the way. Enjoy your week, everybody. And if you love football, oh, my teams won today. I don't know how that worked out. But anyway, let me kick the beat. Here we go.
In this moment, yes, I cannot say what's wrong or right.
All right.
It's not hard to fool me.
On the ones and twos for you tonight. This is DJ George.
Addicted to the good
Big shout out to the friends. Shout out to the chat.
Either way, I follow. No need to say.
Thank you, Tweet Award, for the $2 super chat. Oh, man.
I follow to the edge of it all.
Do me a favor and tune in, okay, to the Queenmaker, okay? I'm still mad about Dude, but anyway, let me calm down. But anyway, make sure you tune in to Queenmaker. I'm telling you, look, I hate to stop the music for a minute, but there's something I need to say. Look, whether you believe a person 100%, 50%, or whatever, the knowledge that she brings you is basically protection. If somebody would tell me, okay, different personality types to either avoid or how to avoid them, that is priceless. Look, myself have read male versions of this book. And these are from like renowned people. Okay? So look, I'm just giving you the common logic of it all. If you read her book, okay, if you read her book, it might just save you from, at the very least, a broken heart. Okay. Secondly, being broke because the dude broke you. Okay. And what I mean is in more than just one way. What I mean is he broke you to pieces, or he emptied your bank account, making you broke. Okay. 3, the worst thing that could happen, and you know what that is. Okay. So that book would be priceless then. People pay $50 to go out to get over men that could have been avoided by reading this book. Same money. Anyway, let me get back to the mix. Here we go, folks. All right, so here we go, folks.
So tell your good night.
Big shout out. Tweet Award. Yeah. Miss RV. Bridget Newton. Miss Movie. Anya Swift. Rock and roll. Lena West. Ellen Ripley. LW Academy Hub for Women. Susie Bear, 33.
Cause I know what I'm getting into. Yes. Yeah. And nothing can stop me.
Kevin, the lifestyle guy.
To what you and I realize. Either way, I follow. No need to say. Where we are heading now, babe. I follow to the edge of it all. So tell your good night. Cause I'll find no matter what. Susceptible.
Ice-T, Black Tina. Kittens in Casket.
So tell your good night.
It's in Goldman. Thank you, everybody, for coming through. I missed your name. I'll make sure I get it on the next one. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.